the Leroy Slava podcast. Conversations with entrepreneurs that inspire and experts to admire. Now, if you enjoy these podcasts, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell to receive updates of future podcasts. All right, today we're speaking to Miguel Martins. He bought his first property at 23. I'm not going to ask you how old are you now. How old are you now?
Older. Double the age of 23 plus.
Plus that?
I'm 48.
48.
This month I'm still 48.
Is it? Okay, alright. Since then he's grown a rental portfolio. He's evolved into multi-lets, flips, done commercial. He's currently focusing on Airbnb, so we need to talk about that. I learned a lot about Airbnb last week. I realized I know nothing about Airbnb. I probably still know nothing.
And I'm still learning very hard there.
But the numbers look good. So Miguel is going to tell us if those numbers were real that those people showed on that presentation. Ex-banker, this is interesting. For 25 years, worked in accounting, headed up Absa Sustainability. You finished last year, so you're officially unemployed now, Miguel.
I'm self-employed. And at the end of every month I have a conversation with myself about raising what I earn.
So what you're going to write now, this is not self-employed.
Self-employed, yeah.
Applying to a bond, what do you do?
Everything that's self-employed, they just put you into the difficult queue.
Yeah, they just put you in that box. Okay, this one's not going to go through. So you should tell us how that's been for the last. I know you left and then you went back.
No, so I was at Home Loans for the last 7 years. I was what they call a portfolio manager, and I looked after a portfolio of products. I looked after the buy-to-let products, I looked after the structured finance products, building loans, international mortgages. Those are the main products. In total, I mean, there was a. So you say these numbers because they sound great.
They do sound great. 70 million.
But it was a 70 million now, a little bit more than that actually with the other book products in there. That was like running your own business. That was like me running my own business because I had to grow the book. I had to get more people to come and choose Absa for their home loans. I had to make the book profitable. There were costs. It was like running your own business. And that provided me the opportunity not just of applying my business mind, but also being a property investor myself. My passion was my job.
Yeah.
So the opportunity to meet investors, property investors, to speak to them, they come to me with financial problems, their financing challenges.
Yeah.
And then we'd have so what strategy are you following conversation? So 5-minute discussion would become a half an hour, sharing. So it really gave me the opportunity to meet a lot of property investors, some just getting going, and some sizable investors, and really expose me to this world, which ultimately gave me the confidence at the time to say, let's try this thing. Let's take a step out of corporate, and let's go test what I think I know in the real world. Without having the comfort of that monthly salary. That was August 2022.
August 2022.
So a year and a half ago.
Year and a half ago. How's that been now, the year?
Sure. So a couple of lessons I've learned. So
I've never been in corporate, so for me it's interesting going from corporate to.
It's fundamentally different, and it's not better or worse. It's absolutely different. So I did go back to corporate for about 6 months last year. I went back to the private and wealth space, and we were developing a structured finance product, more for more affluent customers and investors. And that really came at the right time because cash flow, especially in this high interest rate environments where my rental portfolios are not performing well because interest rates are high. And I've got a home loan just like most other investors. I've got home loans, lots of home loans.
A developer and a property coach. So I've been investing for over 10 years in multiple strategies, from flips to buy-to-lets to multi-lets, commercial property, retail, developments. I've even got a school renting on one of my properties. And I've coached over 100 property students in the last 10 years, and most of them have bought properties. So what I've done is I've put together a coaching program for investors that are starting out. You haven't bought your first property and you want to get into the property market and you want to start investing, we've got a program for you. Or you already invest, you already own 5, 10 properties and you want to grow your portfolio, or you want to restructure your portfolio. You've made a few mistakes and you need help with that. This program is for you. So click on the link below, contact us, send us an email, and one of our team members will contact you and we'll see how we can help you on your property journey and help you grow your portfolio. I believe now is the best time to get into property. Okay? And I believe property is the quickest way to financial freedom. So what you waiting for? So contact us. One of our team members will contact you and we'll get you started on your journey to financial freedom. God bless you. Chat soon.
So the cash flow was really helpful to get through that. But a couple of lessons learned. First of all, so I took 2 months off to kind of just gather my thoughts, and after leaving corporate, because your head gets wired into working a certain way. And 2 months later, and I came out. The day before I left the job, I had 20 different ideas of what I was going to do. A day later, all of a sudden I was placed into a different environment. Half those ideas evaporated. I realized they were just crazy, nonsensical, not practical ideas. Half of them evaporated. So what I learned is that, the first thing I learned is that the environment that you're in determines how you think about things and what's possible. And as soon as you put yourself into a different environment, what's possible changes. It can be more or less, but it changes. So
let's say that again, the environment.
So, and I'll use this as a story I heard. It was a podcast I was listening to yesterday afternoon. And the podcast said something along the lines of, I forget who it was, that if you want to be in a growth environment, surround yourself by people who are thinking growth. If you surround yourself by people who are full of challenges, who are having lots of problems and not really facing them off properly, that's going to determine how you think and then the level of what your possibilities is. So there we're talking about mindset and growth.
So you see the world not as it is, you see the world as you are.
Yes.
If you see problems and then everything looks like a problem, and other people see opportunities, you're around people that see opportunities, you're going to start seeing money.
Your environment contributes to the lens in your glasses, right? So when I left corporate, I used to think a lot about business on a massive scale, on a big scale. I came out of there with ideas on, million rand businesses, multi-million rand businesses. When I stepped into Monday after Friday, and all of a sudden my phone's not ringing, no one's calling me, I've lost my Absa email address. I need to start doing that. I need to start generating that. So my first challenge, 2 months after I left, after I had my leave work holiday, make 1 rand. My challenge was not go make 1 million rand with these great ideas, make a rand, make 1 rand. And I set about just how am I going to generate 1 rand more than what I generate today. I had a rental portfolio. It wasn't covering my expenses, so I needed to get out there and make something happen, right? And that's good, because if you do have that regular income coming in, you get comfortable, you get lazy. Nothing sharpens the mind like a debit order.
Like on the 15th, and you know it's coming off on the 1st.
Exactly right.
Something is happening these 2 weeks.
And also the realization that a lot of things take some time to ramp. So if you're going to start anything in any business, or any income stream or project, there's a think about it, dream it up, put it together, bring the right people together, do the job, get paid. So there's this ramp up period between idea generation, actually getting something, getting a rand into your pocket, into your account. So the timing, so make 1 rand and consider the timing. Very, very important in my life.
How's the emotions? How's the family?
Yeah.
How's the emotions when leaving, saying, listen, I've resigned, 1 month, guys, then I'm going to be at home, and the wife is looking at you. Is she excited?
So massive support from my wife. Absolutely unwavering. She said, if that's where you want to go, and we spoke about it, she was on board. And she continues to be absolutely on board. Kids were happy to have dad home, you know, and not be running around, and maybe a little bit less stress. I also did it for the lifestyles. Actually, I needed to prioritize myself and the stress you bring home, and the frustrations and all the rest. So that was better. So I was able to, and I had the time, with the flexibility and the time to now go and watch, you know, my son play a cricket game without, and I did that before when I was at work, but I'd be sitting there with headphones on my phone, having a meeting, on a Zoom, etc., having a meeting, right? And yes, tick the box, I'm there, but I wasn't really there. I wasn't really there, and I didn't necessarily see him, bowl that out or catch that ball or whatever, right? And also, I used to, you know, as many working parents do today, you know, we all know what it is to pick up a child in the parking lot with a meeting happening, and they jump into the car and you're shh, meeting. And they sit there, and you know, you can have a meeting over Bluetooth or, you know, over your phone in the car, and they almost feel that they've stepped into your office. And what I've since learned is that children feel a sense of rejection because you've told them, whoever this voice is on the phone, or these voices on the phone, they're more important than you are.
We don't think about those.
We don't think about that.
Just think we're working, I'm working for you, I'm working for the family.
And kids, unfortunately, as much as you are, they don't understand it.
Yeah.
They don't understand it. They might at some point in time, but they just don't understand it.
How old are they?
My daughter today is 15, well, now is 15, my son is 12 and 10. So two sons of 12 and 10. So it's busy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
The second thing I learned, so first was make R1, right? And given and make my R within a time, I didn't have time for ramp up periods. I was literally living off my pension. Second thing was,
and your portfolio, you said because I know you've got a portfolio, I'm not sure how many or what you have, but that, you said that didn't cover your living expenses.
And especially with interest rates where they are, you know. So I left
some good news, hopefully. They're coming down again. It's pain for us all.
No, all of us.
It wasn't fun.
So the expectation, and there's a bit coming in the economy at the moment. The expectation is that we should see interest rates go, you know, reduce by at least 0.75%, if not 1%, by the end of the year.
Okay.
So that will come, you know, but that will come. But things have become more expensive and all the rest. So it's still tough out there.
Property Pick is not a typical property listing platform. It is a property investment platform for first-time or seasoned investors looking for good investment properties in South Africa. Property Pick is also ideal for motivated sellers who want to sell their properties fast. Your first listing is absolutely 100% free. There is no catch. Join our community of property investors and sellers and let us help you along your journey. Go to www.propertypick.co.za and subscribe today.
The second thing I learned was about structure. When I was working in corporate, my diary, people could place, the way it works is other people can place meetings in your diary. Or you have team meetings and you commit to do things by 2 weeks from now. You've always got someone chasing you.
Okay.
Your diary sets up your structure for the day.
Yeah.
Okay. And people that you owe commitments to also set up your structure in terms of your priorities. Right. All of a sudden I was by myself and I didn't realize how I was mentally geared around that. It was great to be flexible and choose my day. That sounds very romantic.
Yeah.
But the reality is I very quickly, I really had to, and I'm still learning how to do that, I had to really put structure into my day and then prioritize the things that potentially gave me a rand. So that structure helped me and then focus, prioritize. And I didn't realize how, that was a big learning curve for me, was putting structure.
Because you can be busy with nothing, eh? all day.
So busy.
You
So busy.
can be busy.
No, absolutely.
My father used to say in Afrikaans, he's druk besig om niks te doen.
No, yeah, and you can be busy with things that add value to other people, and people saying thank you, that's awesome, well
advice
done.
on
You picked up the kids, you dropped off the kids, you had phone calls, you had coffees, you know, etc., etc. At the end of the day, how did that translate into financial benefits? Because you've got to get, as an entrepreneur, self-employed, you know, and it's kind of obvious to someone like you. You've got to get a rand in your account. You've got to you've got to look after your financial stability. So you've got to do that, and you've got to be practical and simple like that before you start dreaming these great ideas. Third lesson I learned, and these have come like after a bit of introspection, right? Was start where you are. I had to get these great ideas out of my head. I had to, I was going to build I had 10 million rand businesses designed on paper, and I was going to go get investors and all the rest. And I realized that this was possibly going to earn me something 18 months from now.
Yeah.
Okay. Until then, I was going to lose my house, lose my car. I had to start where I was.
Yeah.
So I looked around at what I had around me. Not just in terms of my property portfolio, what skills could I sell, etc., etc. And that's how I got involved in Airbnb actually.
Is it?
So what I had around me was my own properties.
So now you're in Airbnb, right? But what was your first? I'm curious about that 20. Before you tell us where you are now, what was that 23? That first deal at 23?
The first deal?
You said your first deal was at 23.
Oh, when I was 23 years old.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then tell us about why Airbnb.
Yeah.
I don't know how you started.
So, sure, at 23 years old, I was actually at Absa. I started at Absa in the graduate program. I worked at Absa all my life.
Is it?
Except for a little stint when I was in London for a bit. But I worked at Absa all my life. So I was in the graduate program in the accounting department. And my father was into a bit of property. My grandfather had been into property as well in Mozambique. And I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, because that's what was available at the time. I read another book, a South African book. It was actually Nedbank put it out at the time. I still have it at home, which spoke about property. And it was an awesome book. So, and being a finance numbers kind of guy, I kind of got it. I understood the finance side. I understood how this thing could grow. And then Rich Dad Poor Dad put together. Okay, I've got to do this thing. And I bought a one-bedroom apartment in Morningside, Sandton, right next to the complex next to the Virgin Active. I think I bought it for 220,000 rand. A one bedroom.
This was 23 years
This is about 1998. And that was got a 10 and 10, and just did it. And 23, everything's possible. And that's why I got a taste for it. I think I sold it for like 400,000 rand a year, 2 years later.
Did you make some money on it?
So I made some money on it, and then I thought, this is interesting, I can do this thing, I can manage it. And I used some of that as deposits, and I went and bought two more, eventually had four other sectional titles, actually just outside, just around the corner from Preston, in two complexes there.
So this is now 25.
It's about 25, about 25 years old, yeah.
So you switched on at a young age, eh?
I think I was, having property on the side is not entrepreneurship. It's not, it's proper side hustle, but it's the easiest form, maybe it's the easiest form of entrepreneurship. If you've got a business and you go, if you work in corporate, you've got a job, and you've got 1 or 2 apartments on the side, that's the absolute right thing to do. I fully support it. But as someone very clearly told me one day, you're not an entrepreneur. That's super easy.
So you're not. So if you buy a few properties, you're not an entrepreneur.
But it does tick that box. It does tick that need to build. You want to build assets and all that, etc. When you go out and do it by yourself, and that's what you do. Then I've been told that you can call yourself.
So did you make the one? So what did you come down to now? Saying, okay, the 10 million thing sounds good, but these big deals take time. They can take 3 years, they can take 5 years.
And they may never get off the ground.
It's so much. Municipalities, finance, investors.
Also, I reminded myself, I was no longer arriving there with a red blazer from the bank saying, you know, this is who I am, and people would actually give me the time of day.
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden you arrive there, you're wearing a different colored blazer, and say, oh, you look familiar, who are you again? You know, I realized that as well. So all of a sudden, again, your environment, your context changes.
But no, Miguel, it can't be that. Because remember, you had access to all these 70 billion investors. So they still know, hey, this is Miguel coming from...
But
so you're just not you're not like any guy, just... You sound Miguel phones, you pick up the phone.
Thank you, Leroy. so look, no. I obviously had a network.
Yeah.
I absolutely had a network. And I had a network. But you also realize that who you are is linked to what to who you do, the value you can bring, the influence you can bring, the perspective you come from. I was no longer Miguel from Absa, who had some influence on enabling deals to go through or deals to be given a second thought. I never had the decision-making power, but I had the opportunity to say, please, have a second look at this. Okay, I had the opportunity to. So I no longer had that. I no longer had the interactions with other corporates. I no longer arrived there as Miguel from Absa. I arrived there as Miguel.
Yeah.
So I wasn't having a corporate conversation. I was having a one-on-one conversation.
Okay.
And what I realized, and as you're saying this now, is that I now support my brand, my own brand. It wasn't my brand linked to a logo, a bank logo.
Yeah.
I had to now build my brand, and my brand had to show that what was I able to achieve in my own right. And so there was a branding repositioning required,
Yeah.
and a reproofing. But what I could do and the value I brought had changed. I was no longer Absa potential sponsor. I was no longer able to enable people, to enable people get financing because I knew who to go to and say, don't even have a look at this again, etc. I was now, it was me. So, and reproofing talks to, people still took my phone call and had a coffee, but I had to now start demonstrating what my value was as me, and how did I support that with proof points, so reproofing. So, I was able to think in a certain way, add that level of value, was able to connect the right people with each other, was able to bring finance to a deal, that kind of thing. So I had to figure out what that meant for me. And I must say, I'm still trying to figure out what that means for me. So I know who I am, and I know what's possible. I know where I can add value. And I also realize now where there are environments where I've had to take a step out of because I can't add the same value I used to be able to add there, and I can't add, and my personal value isn't value in that space. So I had to reposition that. And that, the value you provide and your purpose links to what you can do.
The value providing your purpose.
So what you think of yourself is a function of a couple of things, which include what value you offer, the purpose that you find yourself driving every day, and how successful you can be in those. When your purpose and your values changes, you have to rethink who you are. And so there's an element of that went on. And this wasn't something that I could go and pretty much chat to anyone about. It's something I really had to figure out by myself. And I've got a business coach that I speak to, conversations with my wife and a couple close friends. But really, it was a conversation I had to have with myself and understand that I was going through this process. I didn't know what it was going to look like in the end, and so I'd let go of the certainty I had of who I was 6 months before.
Yeah.
I had to now be uncertain of who I was and where I was going, and I had to make comfort with that.
Comfortable being uncomfortable.
100%. 100%. So it's quite a. So I've got to earn a rand. Try to figure out who the hell I am, what value I bring to the world, debit orders are going off,
Yeah.
right? Still got full support of my family, and the pressure's building,
Yeah.
you know, and the pressure's building. So yeah, it's a really interesting period, and coming out of an environment where corporate, I got to a place where I was no longer comfortable and happy with what I was doing. And it wasn't me, it wasn't the job. I was no longer, I think you find places where you're comfortable and being in that place, and then you change, the place changes. And I changed. That's part of the reasons why I need to move on. Now, but at least I had certainty. I knew who I was. I knew what my role was, and I knew what would add value at every week, every day, every month. Now there was a blank page.
So where you've come now? So you found out who you are now? Or you still
No. That's evolving. That's evolving. I've got encumbered with that being in flux. I know what I need to do in some aspects, and I'm trying. But I've realised it's okay to be totally open and evolving in other aspects. So as it stands today, as I said, third lesson I learned was start where you are. I had these properties in front of me. I was fortunately surrounded by people who were doing Airbnb, and they seemed to be doing quite well. But they were also having challenges, but the challenges were insurmountable. So hang on, I can do this, and I have the properties, and I can probably, when you rent a property. And this is the key difference. When you rent a property, you rent a 2-bedroom in Sandton for 10,000 a month. After home loan payments and utilities and everything else, you make 2,000 rand margin out of that. But when you Airbnb that same property, you probably increase it to 15,000 a month. Okay. Yes, there are additional costs. There's housekeeping. Guests don't pay electricity like tenants do, etc. So you don't have that full 5,000 increase, but you probably have a 3,000 increase.
Yeah.
Okay. But you go from making a 2,000 in profit to a 5,000 in profit. Okay. So the 2 you're making before, and then the additional 3 after you take out costs, right? So that was the kind of number. That was the kind of numbers I did, and I realized,
I can make a lot more money.
I can make a lot more money.
And I know you had a few multi-lets in Sandton. Was it those ones that you converted to Airbnb?
So I took the one multi-let, I took one apartment that came available and an Airbnb that let. So I thought, let me test this model. Let me test this 1-bedroom. Did it for 2 months, it worked well, started in December, January. The biggest concern with the Airbnb is that you're going to have crazies coming in and just tearing your place up and all sorts of things. It didn't happen. It was okay, and the app worked well. Then the second apartment came available. I shifted into there, so now 2 apartments going, and I ran that until April, until about May last year. So I ran for about 6 months all in to test the model, because what I did in June is I renovated the property. I converted a 4-bedroom, 4-apartment property, so a house and 3 cottages, into what is today 7 suites. 7 suites, studios, 1-bedrooms, and a 2-bedroom. So I have a mix. And of course that renovation takes capital. So that used up cash. And I opened that up in I opened it up at the end of July for 2 weeks, and then I went overseas for 2 weeks. So the 2 weeks that I was open, I was there, and then the next 2 weeks I was online, into Portugal and the UK, and I was online managing these 7 properties.
Were you managing yourself?
From there. I have a housekeeper, so my model is that I have a housekeeper on site. So it's effectively a guest house for Airbnbs.
Okay.
So each apartment has its own kitchen or kitchenette with its own bathroom, etc. So there's no central kitchen or lounge.
but my trick, or what's key for me is that I have my own person there, and that if there's something that's out of the ordinary, you know, she's able to deal with it, communicate, be able to fix things, get hold of electricians, plumbers, etc. So I've tried to make it run as remotely as possible. So it was a massive test, worked surprisingly. We even had massive load shedding during that time, and it worked. So that was successful. And then in October, I came across a developer in Bloberg in Cape Town, and they had a bunch of apartments which they were letting or leasing in the same building. So I rented the floor. So I've got 6 apartments now in Bloberg. And of course I agree with the landlord that I'll be doing Airbnb as well. Again, same model. I've got each floor in that building has a laundry room. So I've taken over the laundry room because I'm the tenant on the floor. So they gave me the laundry room and the keys. And the laundry room is our supply room, our drying room, ironing room, that kind of thing.
That's interesting.
So, and that's interesting, and it's not, you know, and it wasn't the typical, you know, they in Bloberg, I'm 2 blocks off the beachfront, so it wasn't the typical.
Was it there by the where the food places are on the beach there?
Yeah, 2 blocks from that. Newscap is our big semicircle.
There's a lot of
yes.
in the beaches there.
Exactly.
It's nice.
I'm 2 blocks away from there. No, it's a great location.
It's lovely.
It's a great location. Lovely apartments, fully furnished. I had to go down. I put backup power in each one of them. I bought one of those backup power batteries on wheels from Builder's Warehouse. You know, and did a bit of a thing there. So they all got backup power. I put rechargeable light bulbs in the lights. The oven was already, the stove was already gas. So it's part backup power, you know. So the Wi-Fi, TV, and the lights work, you know, when there's load shedding. And majority of guests have been comfortable with that. Even and for the last 2 months, January, February, probably half the guests have been foreigners.
Okay.
So. And 2 blocks back, you're not going to get the premium you get with a view over the ocean, right? So yes, the rent was less, but the earnings have also been, you know, much less as well. So I guess the model I'm building is, I'm looking at building a scaled model of apartments in Johannesburg, probably Gauteng, and then Cape Town, and looking at what I'm starting to see, and my expectations that the seasonality in Cape Town is quite extreme. In December, January, February, you do very well. In the summer months, you do well because you're getting some corporate travel, say business travel, and you get the leisure travel, okay? And with leisure travel, December, January, you can charge better rates. But what I'm seeing so far in Sandton, and I'm not in the Sandton CBD, I'm probably one, you know, I'm like the next ring out, the next layer out. My rates are half of what they're in Bloberg, but the seasonality is a lot less. It's kind of I can really maintain the earnings throughout the year.
Okay, so
financially, I'm able to kind of offset it. I get the benefits. I'm kind of in it right now, right? I'm kind of figuring this out, and I'm about to go into winter in Cape Town and see what that looks like. And the expectation is that if I can just break even there, what are the strategies to do that? And I built a community of hosts, or that where we get together, and they're either Cape Town hosts or they're Joburg hosts, and we get together and talk about what's happening and what our strategies, etc.
I've seen that. I've seen you've been in restaurants, in Cape Town with lots of people. What's that?
So
you don't invite us.
Hey?
You don't invite people. Hey?
I definitely will the next time. Okay, I'll hold you to it. So that's a community I'm building. Because why am I on Airbnb? Because I was surrounded by a group of people who were having property investment conversations. That Airbnb was a key theme, and they helped me to have the confidence and the knowledge to actually go and drive that business strategy. So I didn't do Airbnb because I've always wanted to do Airbnb. I did it because I had the knowledge, I had the support around me. I went back to them and said, I'm having this problem, I'm having that problem. And I had I wouldn't say the experts, I had people who were in it. And you know, when you get 3 or 4 people who are actually doing it, you've actually got an expert. each of them might call themselves an expert, but collectively, you've got the expertise to draw from.
They've dealt with different things that the other one hasn't.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm very, very lucky to be surrounded by some amazing people. And what I also find is that when people are on this journey of entrepreneurship or building businesses, yes, they're busy, and yes, they are hyper-focused on getting their business off the ground and successful and sustainable. But they will share. If they see you're in the same boat, have no problem with sharing, and the only thing they require, they ask back, is when they need support, or when you come across something that might be valuable to them, that you share back.
Yeah.
And that's the communities that I'm part of. And since then, and that's probably going to be the focus of mine, I say probably because I'm still evolving this, right? Over the rest of this year, is actually building communities. Building communities, whether it's, so with Airbnb, I'm now the official Airbnb coordinator for Johannesburg.
Okay.
So somehow I have a reporting.
Nice. It's a tough thing, eh? Keeping these communities together.
I have a reporting line through to Brian Chensky.
Who's he?
He founded Airbnb. He's the Airbnb CEO. So
Is it?
I like to report to him. So
Oh, wow.
I don't get paid for this, but
it's a good
it just was being active, creating communities, etc. Right? I mean, and it's just very new. I'm not quite sure what's going to require me, but my job will be to actually encourage the community, the Airbnb community, to talk and be engaged, etc. Out of that, and even before that, and on those Facebook groups, we created a WhatsApp group, and on Tuesday evening, 8 of us got together around at a table in just off in Nickel and Santon, and it was 8 hosts sharing their challenges, their Airbnbs, their learnings, how to price, how to deal with guests, deposits, breakages, just having those kind of conversations, which are very operational. But those are the things that hit you every day.
Yeah.
And when you come together and share that, you start to find solutions.
Okay, I didn't think of that. Okay, well, I mean,
100%.
I can save, electricity, I can save you with laundry, whatever it is.
And also, what comes out of that is things you didn't even thought of a problem, or didn't even think of as a solution. Because collectively, it's kind of 8 brains versus 1. You're going to get something better out. And also, they're coming from different perspectives. So different perspectives, different guest types, different, the one lady, she has apartments that you can rent by the hour.
Yeah, those tricky ones.
Really?
They make money on those, by the way.
And honestly, if you told me that 6 months ago, I'm like, oh, no, I don't know about that. Now I'm like, that's a model.
Money. Yeah, it's a model. It's a tricky one, because who are you getting for those hours or that hour?
Exactly, right, exactly. But at the same time, she has other apartments that are more mainstream, And the thing is, all of a sudden you get there, you think, and you don't have an opinion, you say, okay, does it make money, does it work, is it sustainable, do I see myself doing that? So and it's good just to kind of test yourself and think like that. I'm part of a couple of masterminds, and we have the same thing. Once a month we get together, and either it's online or again around a dinner table, and it's something that usually starts at about 7 o'clock and finishes about between 9 and 10. It's conversations. It's just because people are talking and engaged. And that's more around property investment. People are coming from different perspectives.
I've seen those you've been doing for a few years, right?
They've only been for about 3 years.
There's Michael Bowen in them, and there's a group of guys.
I mean, some of the characters around the table, which I think you'll know, Christian Janssen is part of one of them. Michael Bowen, I'm trying to think of who the names. There's Henny Froschier, who's a massive, he does flips in Pretoria East. That's his business. He does 3 flips at a time. He's got there's Albert. Albert's got Albert van Zyl got a fantastic. He's got a construction business, a digital marketing business, but his passion is entrepreneurship in school children. So he's running a massive
the young guy,
program.
He's active on Instagram and he targets Afrikaans schools mostly.
Absolutely.
A nice guy, we've met him a couple of times. He was supposed to come on the podcast and we just couldn't link it.
Switched on, but his passion is to drive entrepreneurship in high school.
He's passionate about it.
And I mean, even this morning I saw, probably he was at some high school yesterday, the day before, and just enjoy. Now when you got those people around the table, you need to level up.
Yeah.
Because if you're on the table and you're not at that level of operation or effectiveness or delivery, or you're not aspiring to be, you're sitting at the wrong table.
Yeah.
So it puts a lot of pressure on you to get yourself leveled up. If you've had a bad week, a bad month, stuff's not going away, and you're feeling sorry for yourself, you better level up. Get over it, get on with it, because everyone else on the table has had those challenges. That's the value of a mastermind and being around people having these conversations. In Johannesburg here, I'm with another mastermind, Marisha Robas, Julia Haddon, Bruce Lee, Rudwan, Absa, massive AirBnB host in Cape Town, and a couple others. And again, everyone's got very different businesses, come from very different backgrounds, very different aspirations, but the thing that brings us all together is we're in business. We're trying to, we've got targets and ambitions, and we're working hard to get to that. And it's not a straight road. It's a road that goes up and down, full of challenges, and we are there to help each other get through this challenge. We're there first and foremost to inspire each other to level up. Okay? There's a level of accountability that comes with
So you said you were going to do this, Miguel. It was 6 months ago. What have you done?
So what we do every so we're there to keep the train of thought going. We're there to aspire, accountability, level up, and then we're there to walk that road, that journey together. Because we're going to have challenges. We're going to have challenges.
It's lonely, eh?
It's lonely. This business, entrepreneurship is lonely, right? Because
in your mind alone.
Absolutely, it's lonely, and you tend to get blinkers just looking at your own piece, and not realizing there's actually a bigger world out there after a while. So you need people to come and just lift your head, right? And when you got those challenges, when you're feeling down, or even when you come across something that's, guys, this worked for me, you should have a look at this. Of course, there's also creating a network of people to refer. So you meet someone on the right and say, you need this, and on the left, you actually got that. Get together, carry on, because someone else will do that with you.
Hi, Leroy Slava here. I'm a property investor, property developer, and a property coach. So I've been investing for over 10 years in multiple strategies, from flips to buy to lets to multi-lets, commercial property, retail, developments. I've even got a school renting on one of my properties. And I've coached over 100 property students in the last 10 years. And most of them have bought properties. So what I've done is I've put together a coaching program for investors that are starting out. You haven't bought your first property and you want to get into the property market and you want to start investing, we've got a program for you. Or you already invest, you already own 5, 10 properties and you want to grow your portfolio, or you want to restructure your portfolio. You've made a few mistakes and you need help with that. This program is for you. So click on the link below. Contact us, send us an email, and one of our team members will contact you and we'll see how we can help you on your property journey and help you grow your portfolio. I believe now is the best time to get into property. Okay? And I believe property is the quickest way to financial freedom. So what you waiting for? So contact us, one of our team members will contact you and we'll get you started on your journey to financial freedom. God bless you. Chat soon.
So what we do every year is around January, we meet as a group. If we've been to, and depending on the group and where we either meet at a restaurant, we go rent a dining room, or a space for a Saturday, or in the past when there were 12 of us in the one mastermind, we'd go to the game farm for the weekend. But we wouldn't go game viewing. We start at 4 o'clock, and each one of us would have an hour where we would tell the rest of the group what our goals were for the year, how that was going to impact our business, and the plan to get there. Okay, and in that hour, they'll probably take about half an hour, 40 minutes, and then for the remaining portion of the hour, you then get feedback from 10 entrepreneurs around
This
you.
is what you could do, this is what you shouldn't do, this is what you're not doing.
Or a guy, what you're doing, you're aiming too low. Why aren't you aiming high enough? So I mean, you've got the variety of expertise. Massively powerful. Massively. You come out of there, I'd come out of those sessions with the validation of what I was doing was the right thing to do or not, I had to adjust. But then also often I'd come out and say, I'm not thinking big enough. Because invariably there are 2 or 3 in that group of 10 that are aiming high and making it happen.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, I need to level up. So massive inspirational. And then of course we meet a month later and we kind of, in a casual way, how's it going, what you up to? Because when you sit down for those dinners, we don't just have dinner chat. We go around the table, Miguel, how's it going with you? You got 15 minutes. And then on to the next person, 15.
No, that's good stuff.
No, it is.
That sounds good.
It is fantastic. And mid-year,
I want to be part of that, if I can. How do we get part of it? Someone's going to listen and say, I want to be part of that now.
so this is what I'm saying.
It must be proper, or not proper guys only.
So in the past, and mainly because that's been the networks I've been involved in, it's been property, the business of property, okay? And I think it might remain that, but we need to expand that because the principles are the same. Technically the knowledge might be property related, but we got the same principles as we're applying the same principles as any other business. So going forward, and so right now, my focus is stabilizing my Airbnb business. We've scaled really quickly. I'm onto a second property in Rivonia, in Santon, which we're applying that. So now all of a sudden I'm managing 18 listings by myself. I need to start building a team to pull that together, and I'm looking for a property manager at the moment.
So that's probably good. That's where your corporate skills will come in now, managing managing people and systems and
and bringing someone in who's interested in their business and coaching them and working with them and making them a success there. Because again, my aspiration to have multiple income streams. So there'll be the property lettings business, there'll be the Airbnb business, there'll be masterminds. We'll see where that goes. So just bedding that down, and that should be in the next month or two, to get that going. And then second half of the year, middle of the year, hosting an event at the Santon Convention Centre. Wow. So we'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
But as part of that, and as going forward, it's all about building communities. And dinners. And the concept, and we're still putting it together, is really getting 10 to 12 people who are in business, like yourself, like the others who I've sat with previously, and every week sit with, have different groups sit and go through this process I've gone through.
It makes life easier. You come with a deal, he has finances, he builds, he manages, Christian, finances.
You've got the right expertise around the table to do that. Although what I find is that the level of deal making is actually relatively low. It's more about the support and guidance and coaching and group coaching that comes out of that. That's more valuable than going there because you're going to deal. What we also do is we ask people to leave. In these masterminds we've had, we are not there to have a chat and have a social. If you are not participating, arriving, contributing, if you are not, if one isn't got the right ambitions and goals, you're taking up someone else's space who could contribute to the group.
Okay, so you've asked people to leave.
And we have, absolutely.
How would you
because the challenge there is because up front everyone knows this.
Yeah.
Everyone knows this, that if I'm going to be here, it's because I'm on the same trajectory as everyone else around the table.
Yeah.
As soon as I'm here because this is a nice social, and my contribution is low or no longer aligned with where this group is going, then I need to make space for somebody else. So it is difficult because we become friends. You share a lot. You share a lot in those groups. I share more than I do with people closest to me because we're on the same mindset. So we do ask them to excuse themselves,
And when they are ready to kind of get back onto that journey, please come back, you know, and let's see how. You also can't have 30 people around the table. So you want a level of intimacy, you definitely want a level of exclusivity. You know, people must know that you're not going to have a deep conversation with 20 people.
Yeah.
You can have a deep conversation with 10 people. And even that sounds like a lot, but you know, you can have that level of conversation.
And you have this once a month, whether online or whatever you want.
Today, I mean, we got 3 different groups, so I'm on 3 different conversations once a month, and I'm looking at how I structure and scale that, going forward.
Property Pick is not a typical property listing platform. It is a property investment platform for first-time or seasoned investors looking for good investment properties in South Africa. Property Pick is also ideal for motivated sellers who want to sell their properties fast. Your first listing is absolutely 100% free. There is no catch. Join our community of property investors and sellers and let us help you along your journey. Go to www.propertypick.co.za and subscribe today.
So next week, I'm in Cape Town. We got the first, I think it's the first ever short-term rentals. You know, when we talk about Airbnb, it's about short-term accommodation. So before Airbnb was around, you had holiday lettings. That still exists.
Guest houses.
Today, you've got Airbnb, you got Booking.com, you got VBRO, it's Lekker Slaap, etc., etc. I mean, those all exist. So I think when you say Airbnb, we're actually talking collectively about all of it.
And that's what you're going to focus on for the next couple of years for this year. I want to stabilize it.
I want to hand the operational management of that over. Probably be involved in the growth of that, but the day-to-day management of it. You know, a team that I work with must drive that. So next week there is the first ever conference of short-term lettings that I've known of, and maybe my history is maybe only 2 years old, that I've known of in South Africa. It's a Spanish organization, events company coming from Spain. They hold several of these around Europe every year. I think they were in Marbella in Spain last month, and in May they are, I think, Barcelona. And it's a 2-day event. The first day is about people who are individual hosts, people who are running their own Airbnb listings, guest houses, etc. Second day is about hosts who have 15 properties or more. So these are the guys, some of the brands there are companies like Proper. If you start looking for listings, you see Proper. So they have a portfolio of 20, 30, 40, 50 apartments around the country. Knox, which is a company that's actually helping bring out scale from Spain. They've got 40, 50 properties, in Camps Bay. Airbnb will be there, Booking.com will be there, etc. That's the event. I'm working with the organisers to have a dinner
nice.
on the Monday evening. And why have a dinner? Because it's a great opportunity to sit. Once you get into the event, everyone's busy, everyone's going in different directions, things are happening, etc. Right? But there are 12 of us meeting on Monday evening in Greenpoint, and we're having dinner. We're going to just talk about business. How are you finding it? How was your summer season? What are your strategies? My personal interest is what are their strategies for the winter? So again, I can either go through this and have my own personal learning curve. I can leverage and create communities and leverage off others. So call it networking, but I get the benefit, as does everybody else around the table. So it's creating that mutual benefit.
I want to be part of these. Maybe not the 12 because I don't have Airbnb yet. So
Airbnb seems to be very involved at the moment. Airbnb is very involved at the moment, but there's definitely, we've got the property investment ones and this will grow. No, we'll definitely love to have you on board. I think when we're sitting today here in Slava Village, this is a fantastic project. And if you're not a find, we don't often appreciate how valuable our knowledge is by what we take for granted. I've done flips, I've done rentals, I've been through evictions, I've been through squatters, I've been through my guests were arrested at my Airbnb in Cape Town in the second week of operation. How did I handle that? You know, and you do that, you carry on. That knowledge of how you handle that, what you learn from it, etc., is invaluable for somebody who hasn't there yet. So what you've done with the commercial projects that you've put together, and I mean, that is invaluable for others. So this is what I'm trying to pull together. And again, I think it's definitely going to be select people, because I think you need to be at the right table. For you to go and for someone like yourself or myself to try to sit around a table of beginners or wannabe property investors, I'll do that because that's my way of giving back. Okay.
But you're not actually getting anything.
But I won't take any value out of it. Other enthusiasm, you know, that's around me. I also want to be I definitely want to be at those tables of who forces me to level up. You know, where am I going to learn from? So, and those are available. I'm going to look at how my intent for the rest of the year is to build those communities and put the right people at the right table together.
But it's easier like that. I think these communities where you get guys that are already doing stuff, you don't have to motivate them and get them and entertain them and are you coming? This is here, we give you a free this and a free that. I guess they actually pay. You pay to be there, and
so I haven't figured that out. Yes, you will pay to be there, but I'm still figuring out that this is a high value environment. You're not going to find this environment anywhere else. And that's what I found. I've tried to, and even my corporate, being in corporate, you've actually got to create those environments, and you've got to structure. You've got to design them. So you've got to make sure that you've got the right. That's why I say not just anyone can join. You've got the right people at the table, at the right level, in the similar journey. Because if you put a head of Absa Properties at that table together with a first-time investor, they just can't have the same conversation, right? But if you put that, if you align them, you put it on the table with people that they respect for what they're doing, the value they're providing, that they can also provide value, etc., then that group really starts generating that communal value between them. So there's a bit of design, there's a bit of a learning curve you're going to have to go through in terms of how to put that together. These things don't just happen by themselves. I also find that renting a room and a table and some coffee isn't enough. There's nothing like having a meal, clanging plates and knives and forks, a beer or a wine, and all of a sudden it's a casual setting, serious conversation.
Casual setting, serious conversation. You've shared so much. I've still got so many questions, but I don't think I'm going to get to all of them. 70 billion of investors. What's an investor? I mean, it's a simple question, but what is a property investor?
So different banks, they look at their home loan book, their balance sheet, and then of course they've got the data of male, female, age, geography, etc., right? And the data that they have and they have access to, they can see that Miguel has 2 properties in his name, 3 properties in his name, and then they categorize the book because different homeowners or people with home loans will have different needs. A first-time buyer, when their first property, will be a specific age, a specific profile, which would generally be, it's never quite, generally be a age profile, and they'll have different needs, they'll have specific needs, right? Whereas, and one of the needs will be is that their first time will buy a property and a second property at some point. No one buys their...
So the guys don't know that they're in this property investment. You guys just separate, say, okay, here's 2, let's push him to this side.
But you do know.
Let's target him, you know.
When banks come to you and they say, here's our first time buyer offer, we'll give you 5% extra, we'll give you all these benefits, etc. It's because they've profiled you as your needs. Remember, they profile you because they want to make sure the offer they give to you fits you. Okay, so they know that you want you want the bank to try, you don't have, you're arriving with less cash as a first time buyer. So the banks, assuming you have certain criteria, they're happy to give you 105%. Why? Because they know you need to cover your costs. Okay. Do they make extra money out of that? Of course they do, but it didn't start there. They realized that actually first time buyers are short on cash. How do we give them cash? Second time buyers are not short on cash. Why? Because for the most part, they own their first property for 7 to 8 years. That property grew by anything but between 5 and 8% per year. So if it was a million rand property, now it's probably sitting at about 1.1, 1.2 million in value, and you've paid a bit off. So when you go and sell it, now you're sitting on 200,000 or 300,000 rand. Okay, so second-time buyers need less cash. Okay, so they can cover their transfer fees and costs and things. But now what they need is something different. So they profile those repeat buyers, the second-time buyers. Someone who, as an investor, now you've got multiple properties. That's why as an investor, so 2 or more. Those properties could be a rental property. It could also be a house by the coast. Right. It could be a house you bought for your mom. Okay. So those are 3 very different needs. Rental property, you're a tenant. House by the coast, well, you only use it 3 weeks a year. Okay. And a house you bought for a family member or your mom, well, again, it's not your tenant, it's not your holiday home, but it's different. So we start thinking differently about the banks think differently about those kinds. So they section the book off like that, and then you put products, propositions, campaigns, marketing to target those and to solution those. That 70 billion rand book, remember, it's not 70 billion in that year. That book is 20 years old. So that was a large book. I'm sure it's quite large. It's a lot larger than it was a year and a half ago. You also don't get a chance to speak to everyone in that. So I think that's nice. Now you put in your CV. What I did, and I think I did it. I think I did it well. Was I put myself out there, so that investors, our current clients, our prospective clients, they could reach out, they could have a conversation. I think people out there, when it comes to banks, especially when it comes to financing and home loans, don't understand how financing works. And the banks do try to convey how it works.
Do they?
I think they do. No, they do. But they do it from a bank perspective. When you're in corporate, I guess the context within which you live, as a corporate, you think about things in the way a corporate would, not the way an entrepreneur would. So I think that's why banks struggle so much with entrepreneurs, is that they look at, as they do with all types of customers, they know entrepreneurs are very risky. Why? Because business works, sometimes it doesn't. Income is irregular, etc. Right? So that's why it's a little more difficult for entrepreneurs to get finance. Now, are banks wrong? They're not wrong. It is that is the case. But could they be thinking differently? I think banks try. But then there's always the risk department, and the risks department says, we need to ensure that we cover ourselves. Should this person not be able to pay, etc. etc. So banks are risk companies. They lend at risk. So ultimately they've got to go back and they've got to cover themselves when things get tough. What I always try to do is share the rules. Well, let's say is it Lionel Messi or Ronaldo? They're really good players because they understand the rules. Once you understand the rules, you understand how to bend the rules. So not bend the rules. Work around the rules. How to work around the rules. So understand what the rules are. Once you understand that, you understand how to position yourself best to work with those rules, as opposed to just throwing money at the wall hoping it sticks.
Because banks want to give you money, that's how they make money. So if you follow the rules, if you follow the rules, they'll give you money. If you understand what they want.
Absolutely.
And you follow the rules.
So for example, most banks will not consider AirBnB income as income.
Because
it's irregular. Right? So if you arrive there and say, look, if I had to arrive there and say, look, I've got 18 Airbnbs, my turnover is a couple 100,000 a month, okay? as soon as I say it's short-term income or it's AirBnB, they're like, don't even look at it.
Yeah.
What I might need to do is position that in a PTY, and get financial statements, etc.
Yeah.
And then I can go back and I can say the same thing. Here are my audited financial statements.
Yeah. The company is making, not the property.
Then I still put a level of risk on the type of business your company does. But now at least you're having a conversation. You know. So it's understanding those rules and working with those rules. That's the key, and that's why you get some originators and home loan originators who are awesome, and others who just take application and throw it through a process. Finding those originators who can work with you, understand you as a self-employed, a businessman, an investor, and finding those, that's where there's a lot of value.
That's important, because not all of them do it. They say, no, you can't do this, and it's actually good when a bond of like Christian, they also invest and they can start thinking around, okay, maybe we can do it this way, maybe if we structure it that way, maybe we go to this bank and not there, maybe.
And for someone like that, it can be very frustrating because there's all sorts of entrepreneurs approaching them and saying, how about this, how about that, and they actually know where you can push a bank to and where the line gets drawn.
I've actually sent him a few things and said, listen, this. I sent you a couple of things as well.
Yes, you can, 100%. And I think,
what can we do? Can we do this?
And that's a conversation. And you know what? I learned from that. You know, I find that when I was in that role, and even today, when someone comes to me with a challenge or a problem, that on the face of it is like, no, it's not workable. Let's just think a bit about this. And sometimes you're like, oh, right, from that perspective, all of a sudden it unlocks itself. So we talk about having a power team in property investment, right? You want your power team not just to be plumbers, originators, electricians, lettings agents. They must first and foremost be problem solvers who do plumbing, electricians, they do lettings, and they do financing. If they're not problem solvers, you need to sharpen the pencil. Who you have as part of the power team.
That's good. You want your power team to be problem solvers. Miguel, I can't keep you here forever. Where are the opportunities in South Africa? Last questions, opportunities. I told you.
Ask that question again because I think we got.
Where are the opportunities? Because obviously people are watching this now. They're saying, well, listen, I want to invest. I haven't started. I've just started, or I've grown a portfolio of 100 properties, whatever it is. Interest rates are up. Elections are coming up. 2 months in May, end of May.
29th of May.
29th of May, elections are coming up. Is there going to be a coalition? Is there going to be ANC and the EFF? Is there going to be DA with whoever that whole group of them? Will interest rates come down? There's a shortage of housing, and it's between, some people say 2.5, some people say 3.5. I'm not 100% sure. Let's say between 2 and 3 million shortage of housing in South Africa. Student accommodation, we're not sure what NAF says. There's a shortage there. It's Airbnb, which if you look at the numbers I saw 2 weeks ago, I was like, maybe I should change some of these things into Airbnb. If you look at some of these numbers, like for 15,000, when rental it jumps to 50,000, I'm like, wow, there's money out. Where are the opportunities?
Sure.
Well, it's in South Africa. What? I know that's a big question now because I've covered this. What do I do now?
A couple thoughts on that. In my life, and I've got a couple of grey hairs for this, right? And a bit less hair on the back. You've got a lot less hair than me, but
mine is grey, I cut them.
Don't worry about the big stuff, because there's nothing you can do about that. Nothing I can do about elections and who gets elected and who's got 25%, who's got 65%. I can't do anything about the interest rates. I can't do anything about water, electricity. I can't have an opinion on that. Of course, those are issues I've got to sort out because those come close to home. And interest rates. Interest rates. If you are paying off your home loan today, 2024, I'll go back 20 years. Assuming you didn't refinance in those 20 years, okay? We're at high rates today which are 1% higher, 1.5% higher than they were 2 years ago, pre-COVID.
Yeah.
It's not massive. In 2008, which would have been those 20 years, and just after 2008, I think I can't remember what we were at, but I think we were at 13-14%. I stand to be corrected. But it was,
I wasn't buying that.
But you know, in your 20 years, you're going to get at least 2 or 3 massive interest rate increases, surges, cycles. Okay, over 20 years. So don't ever work according to a low interest rate environment, high interest rate environment. Understand it's going to be up and down, and what can you do to accommodate that? Okay. Understand that there'll be good governments and bad governments. How can you do to accommodate that? You'll have water, electricity, you know, what do you do to accommodate that? And sometimes, like with the area where I live in, we're okay with water. Literally 2 blocks away, water's off every second week for 2 days, okay? How do I know that? Because I've got a multi-let in that space. And every second week, the guys are going crazy about water, right? And it's like, so like, you can't control these big things. So get past them, cry about them for a very short space of time, get past them and accommodate it.
Can't control that. That's good, eh? Can't control the big things. Useless complaining about.
Yeah. So look,
What is inside your control? Okay, one is, you know, we're going to talk interest rates. You know, everyone always says, have cash available, use the cash. The problem is when you've got too much cash available and you see opportunities, you go shopping.
Yeah.
Okay. So as an entrepreneur, having cash available is really tough. A, to put it together and have that fun in the first place, and then not to touch it, especially when your minor shocks and the opportunities present themselves. Okay. So maybe the comment here is be flexible. Like I moved from long-term lets to short-term lets. You know, it required me, you know, moving from one strategy to another, so it required flexibility.
Yeah.
I have put solar power in 3 of my multi-lets, in the guest house, and then 2 other multi-lets. And now people will rent with me first before they will go anywhere else, and I'm able to charge a little bit more, but I won't have a vacant month.
Yeah.
Okay? So the ESCOM problem has actually become an opportunity. Because my lights are on when the rest of the street is off. Okay? Did I have to plan that, structure, design it, invest in it, etc.? Well, I did it because I rented it. So there are solutions out there. Instead of going to spend 150,000 on a solution, I rented for 2,000 a month. So
There will go solar.
a company called Versify also goes solar. Yeah, great company, and both good companies. So I've got 8 apartments on an 8 kilowatt inverter because I've thought about it, and I got down to the essence of the problem, etc. So I don't make quick decisions. I think hard, but then I act quickly.
Okay. Think hard, act quickly.
Absolutely. I think it's about flexibility. So where the opportunities, I'll tell you what's happening now. So the interest rates are going to go down. So it creates some relief. Banks are still going to be tough with lending. They're lending, but they're going to be tough lending for the next 2 years.
Okay.
Because they've got all these other customers that have hit hard times.
Yeah. Because they bought in 70% and now it's
in 2020 they bought at 7%, and now we're sitting at 11.75. We're going to go back to 11, but it's still a lot more than 7%.
Yeah.
So you've got a whole bunch of people who bought at that point who was already stretched.
There's going to be a lot of distressed.
They already are, and that will stay in the book for quite some time with the banks.
But does that mean opportunity for investors coming? A lot of distressed properties, or auctions, sheriff's auctions,
Absolutely, a lot of distressed properties, sheriff's auctions, that opportunity continues there. So definitely. But I've never bought in a sheriff's auction. I've bought distressed properties, never on a sheriff's auction. The property opportunities are always there in good and bad times.
Yeah.
Always there. They're never not there. Maybe sometimes the tide is that there are more, and sometimes there's less. But there's always opportunities. I think water and electricity is an opportunity. So now I'm thinking about water backup. Thinking about putting a 10,000 litre Jojo tank in the corner of the garden, because I've got multi-lets, and they're feeding the property. Why? Because yes, it helps my tenants live easier or live better, but it differentiates me. You know, on those 100 listings on Property 24, if I put there's water and solar backup, I go to the top of the list at an extra 300 or 400 rand a month. You know, so does the 300 or 400 rand a month cover the cost of it? It doesn't, but I'll have less vacancies.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to look at it holistically. You got to look at it, and I'll have people who won't move so quickly because
So they stay longer.
because they haven't because most other properties don't have these options, so they will move when they have to move. And you know what? I can maybe increase my rentals a little bit more aggressively than others. Okay, and over time that makes a difference. So because why? The options are that they haven't got the same options elsewhere. So be strategic. Think about what's happening today. Problems, a lot of problems can become opportunities. Think about your tenant, your customer, or if you're selling to someone, your buyer. Think of them as a customer, and you're selling a product. You know, a lot of landlords have the property, and they almost like treat their tenant as almost not want them there. Almost treat them, you know, badly. No, treat them as a customer. Think hard about it. Think about, and you're not solving for, as a rule, if I have to fix something in the property, I fix it quick, it will be there, I'll fix it in such a way that it's going to be there for the next 3 tenants. And whilst I'm fixing that thing, I'll try and see what else I can do that's in a similar type of job that will add value to the property. So think a little bit long term.
Think hard, act quickly. I sometimes do the other way around, act quickly.
No, we all do, right?
That's good. That's for me.
Some of us think hard, and then we think hard, and then we think, oh, we never act.
Yeah.
That's how it's like.
Miguel Martins, thanks for. I think you shared a lot of value. I learned a lot. There's always opportunities, guys, because you know some of these things bring fear, especially in environments like this. So now you don't do anything. I'm not worried. And you're saying good deals are there.
The good deals are there.
Good times, bad times. Focus on what you can control. You can't control interest rates. You can't control. You can vote, but it isn't really one person.
No, you got to vote. Yeah. You can't ignore those big things.
Yeah.
You're living in this country. You're part of it. You need to complain when this comes down. You need to put your vote down.
Yeah. You
need to do that. But I'm saying don't let those big things get involved in the way of what you do today.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to sit at home in the corner. It paralyzes you. I've been there. I think COVID taught us a lot of that. And I mean, COVID was a time of massive uncertainty, and it's well documented. Many people just like shut down because the future was so uncertain that it paralyzed people and just couldn't move forward. And then people actually even have. There was a comment the other day around mental health and stress, and post COVID. That's jumped up. It was 25% of people had. It was a US stat. 25% of people in the US had mental health issues pre-COVID. After COVID, it's like 50-60%.
So what was a rubbish year, eh? Things were still
absolutely. And stuff.
Some guy said still. I said, how's things going? He says, dude, I'm still fighting back from.
Yeah.
He says, I'm struggling to go up just. I'm still fighting back from COVID. Nothing happened for a year.
And these won't stop. It's COVID, then it's interest rates, then it's corruption, and then it's that. You do your bit.
Yeah.
You carry on your bit. You play a role in the bigger picture, but you don't let that determine where you are. Because.
Yeah. No, that's encouraging. Miguel, where do we follow you? We want to become part of the groups. Everyone can't, but
sure, no, absolutely.
Where do we get you on LinkedIn?
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Facebook.
Yeah.
Look up Miguel Martins. You'll find me on Facebook. I'll post there. I'll be definitely talking there more about communities.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be talking there about the AirBnB conference next week. The dinner we're having. A lot of the connections and conversations that are going to come out of there. Facebook's the best place to be. I'll move over to Instagram and all these other, and I'll do a TikTok dance sometime. Maybe you and I can get together.
Yeah, we'll wait for that. No, that's good, but well done, man. Well done with the Cape Town. Maybe we should get you telling us how you negotiate an owner to a rented, and there's so many questions I have. You're gonna have to.
Love to come back every so often and have a catch-up chat.
How do you negotiate that with the owner to rent, and because these are things most people don't know about. They think you need to buy a property, they think you need to own it, they think you need to qualify, and there's all these rent-to-rent installment sale agreements.
Whenever I'm speaking to a prospective property investor, someone who's new to the game, etc., the first thing I say is build your knowledge.
Know what's possible. Okay? But if you're not careful, you realize there are 15 different strategies done 10 different ways, and that kind of paralyzes you into inaction. I think build your knowledge, spend 6 to 12 months investing in that, and investing is about time and money. People go and pay 80,000 Rand, 50,000 Rand for, if that's the right cost, for transfer duties for a £1 million property, but they won't spend 10,000 Rand to go on a course.
Yeah.
You know? So build your knowledge, invest in it, invest in time and money into it. First, get a group of people around you talking property, just get immersed in that world, but then go and take action. And actually, I also say, go and find the easiest property. Go find a 1 bedroom in a sectional title.
Yeah. First one is not to get rich.
Yes,
it's to get in.
It's to get in, do it correctly, buy it at the right numbers. If you break even, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But understand what it is to manage a property, manage a tenant, that whole process.
And you will make a mistake or two here.
You will. You will make a mistake. It's a certainty. Make sure your mistakes are manageable. That's why you don't get to. Often people want to go and get 20-room student accommodations as their first. I'd be scared to get 20-room student accommodation today. It doesn't fit my risk profile or my level of management. As a first-time buyer, unless you got to learn really fast, or unless you've got a great team of people around you, it might kill you. It might impact you financially, and then you're back 5 years.
Yeah.
So be careful going too big too fast. But start education, get your foot in, grow from there.
Yeah. What was it? Education. Mastermind, surround yourself with the right people, and then take action. Start small, dream big. Guys, Miguel Martins, follow him, share, like, subscribe. God bless. Chat soon.